All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Power of Projection. Obama shredded for deeply bitter, angry post-election speech. Oh my God. Let's go and do it.
One of the lessons I think we've come to understand, I hope that everyone has come to understand, is the power of projection.
Yes.
Accuse your opponent of the sins which you're committing. President Obama gave us, former President Obama, gave us another example of projection Thursday night in Chicago. He gave a speech where he talked about the weaponization of government and the polarization of your opponent, the polarization of America. Let's listen to the words of former President Obama.
All right, let's go.
Since total victory is impossible in a country politically split down the middle, the result is a doom loop of government gridlock, even greater polarization. When I mentioned to a few friends that our foundation would be hosting a forum on democracy and pluralism, I got more than a few groans and eye rolls.
Yeah, because it's time for us to move on, bro. I mean, listen, President, cool, speaks very well, right? You generally love the way, he delivers the speech. Great, right? But the fact is that, well, while Kamala was running and he was basically backing her, he said a lot of things that were just completely irrelevant. You can't just specifically come and ostracize a good bit of the population, guys. You can't do that. So I think it's just time for us to just move on. We're no longer in the time, when he ran, guys. We just need to move on.
Especially since, as far as they were concerned, the election proved that democracy is pretty far down on people's priority list.
Really?
There are going to be times, potentially, when one side tries to stack the deck and lock in a
fear-mongering,
permanent grip on power, either by actively suppressing votes or politicizing the armed forces or using the judiciary, the criminal justice system to go after opponents.
What about the criminal justice system? What about the DOJ? I mean, Biden, for the most part, has been saying it was the most important thing in the world, right? He fully, said basically, you know what? We're not going to pardon my son. I'm not going to do these things. What did he do instantly? He pardoned his son. Listen, please stop talking, Obama.
My friends, is projection.
That is amazing, actually. So it's intentional. I mean, this isn't just some tick or something that just popped into his head because he's bummed out that they lost the election so bad. I mean, people need to understand Barack Obama has been a really negative force on this country and on politics and creating so much division. That comes from Saul Alinsky. People forget Barack Obama was teaching rules for radicals. He was teaching about Saul Alinsky at the University of Chicago. That is a hero to him. And one of his rules, among many, that was meant to basically dismantle society and bring about this, liberal utopia. One of them was how to attack your enemy. And Saul Alinsky, took his lessons from Lucifer, actually. Like, he talked about that being somebody who could teach them how to take power and control. And here's Barack Obama, Charlie, I think, really kind of going, he's in a bad spot.
Yeah.
He created this. He thought it was going to become this permanent power base for him. And now he's accusing the right of what he did because he's just super bummed out right now.
Yeah, and it is total projection. It's also desperation. That's the thing that is so striking to me about that entire, all those remarks that he made, that entire speech or whatever it was the depth of he's very bitter. That's not the Barack Obama who gave that speech in 2004. Even if you didn't agree with him and didn't like him and didn't agree with his policy prescriptions, it's a different guy than he was when he gave that speech in 2004 or when he won that election in 2008. He is a deep...
And this is what I'm trying to point out here. It's time to move on. Like, at one time, listen, Obama, I get it, bro. I get it. I hear you. Right. But the problem here is that you're trying to bring, right, methodologies, ideologies, all these other things, right, from a time period that we are no longer in. So when I say it's time to move on, I basically exclusively mean Exactly, basically what he's saying. You are not the same individual. We are not in the same time. There are many differences. We just have to move on.
Deeply bitter, angry guy, and he's talking about how voters don't care about democracy.
Hope and change has turned into dour and bitter.
Yeah. Bitter and
Really
projectionism.
And I would say, and while he's projecting, he's not just projecting that which we all know.
Oh, wait. I definitely would not call him angry. Bitter? Definitely. Bitter that his side lost, in fact. Bitter. Bitter that all of the ideologies that he, Kamala, and basically Biden have been pushing over these last, decade and a half, the rest of the other side of America has just said, we don't care about this stuff anymore, bro. It's too much now. It's too much. So what are you really expecting here? Okay.
At this point, which is the Department of Justice was weaponized under Joe Biden. There was a consolidation of permanent Washington under Joe Biden. What we should also point out is it all began under Barack Obama.
Yes. Yep.
That is when, for example, he spied on a Fox News reporter. That is when Lois Lerner targeted conservatives with the IRS. That is when much of this began and was just extrapolated under the presidency of Joe Biden.
Yeah, and then they also under Barack Obama and then metastasized under Joe Biden, which, many people believe that administration was being run out of Obama's mansion in Colorado, Washington, D.C. But that said, the censorship industrial complex that was used to also consolidate that power is something else. And that's one of the things that people were really voting against, along with the weaponization of the government, this idea that it could be used to censor us and therefore allow them to consolidate power. Barack Obama is very isolated right now. Even his best friend, George Clooney, who wrote the op-ed that ended up pushing out Joe Biden, is now upset at Barack Obama, going, hey, you told me to write that op-ed. Now everyone's blaming me online. Where are you, Barack Obama? Barack Obama's becoming, he's not used to not being glorified. And this is an interesting moment for him.
Yeah, and meanwhile, across the aisle, you have Donald Trump, who has taken over the mantle of sort of occupying the broad center of American public opinion on things like illegal immigration, to the point where you even have New York City's Mayor, Eric Adams, who has previously supported sanctuary cities, so he can't be let off the hook entirely. But he's open to the idea that Donald Trump and Republicans might very well have some solutions to solve the grave problems in the city. Watch this.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest surprise of the year.
Consider rejoining the GOP.
The party that's the most important for me is the American Party. I'm a part of the American Party. I love this country. This is the home of the free, the land of the brave.
So Eric Adams there, who has taken the side, to your point, Charlie, of Donald Trump, or at least tilted in the direction of Donald Trump when it comes.
Guys, again, it's not about Trump. I get it. This every time you guys send me something from this network, everything is Trump focused, right? But the reality of the situation is it's not about Trump. It's not. It's just not. It's about the party. It's about the party that is looking to do something versus the party who is legitimately not doing a single thing about it, making it worse while not. Listen, bro, if you're going to make it worse, fund it. Okay, if that's the case here, the fact is that the fact that Washington D.C. does not want to actually fund. So what happens? The mayor of New York is like, okay, enough of this, bro. We're gonna go to the party who has the ability to fix the issue here. I'm not sure it's very Trump focused, guys. He's from New York. I'm from New York. Trust me, it's not Trump. It's the party.
Comes to illegal immigration, they're even leaving the door open to a return to the Republican Party.
Yeah, now that the bills are coming due, he's like, wait a minute, maybe this wasn't such a great
idea.
Yeah,
they're not paying.
Also, don't forget, Mayor Eric Adams was the subject, I think, of the weaponization that we were just talking about. You said he was for sanctuary cities. He saw the effects on his city. He was listening to the feedback coming from the Bronx and Queens and people saying, this is horrible, our crime is up,
Absolutely.
we can't walk the streets. There's, illegal businesses on the sidewalk. The place looks like crap. And
yeah, the sidewalk issue in Manhattan was definitely, in fact, an issue. Guys, if you've ever been to New York and you've seen these street vendors, there is a very finite amount of individuals who legally can actually set up these shops. The problem is that there are tens of thousands of individuals selling on the street when there should only be like 200 for the whole city, guys. All right. So yeah, and a lot of these the immigrants that went there decided to set up shop because they thought that this was something that was viable. But in all reality here, what he did was smart. He sent out the police to basically bust all of this nonsense up. Listen, if you tried to walk down any of the sidewalks in Manhattan, you'd instantly understand. Okay, like what happens if you knock over someone's table and they're not supposed to be there? You break one of their belongings. Now they come after you in some violent manner because they shouldn't have been there in the first place. Okay, it's set up for high walking traffic. If you block the sidewalks, no one can walk.
And so he started to respond to it and draw attention to what was happening at the border. And all of a sudden, he had a big investigation on him. And so Donald Trump famously at the Catholic event here in New York City just before the election, sort of reaching out and saying, hey, I know what that feels like. This government can be weaponized. And I think that's why he's losing his thrill with the Democrat Party. And again, it might just be, that he's just being politically savvy, reading the tea leaves. People are in no mood for Democrats and their radical agenda right now. But I also think that he has experience enough to know that this was not good for his city and also what happened to him personally. So it's a lot going on there.
All right, guys. All right. So I definitely fully agree. Like, listen, you cannot continue to say that you don't have money for something and then out of nowhere you find it. People then are going to feel a little, awkward about that. And then you start putting individuals into your neighborhood, right? Into any random neighborhood, specifically the Bronx, okay? These individuals are not going to be down for any of that. I'm going to tell you this right now. That's just not going to be a thing. So what you start to realize that people in these specific locales, they're starting to completely flip politically. They no longer want to hear AOC speak, guys. They no longer want to hear her speak. Because while you're out here living away from the basically ground zero, let's say, while you're living away from it and then saying how good this is, you're not living in it, AOC, anymore. You're not. So why are you talking? For what reason are you talking about something that doesn't affect your life? Saying it's good for the people. Bro, the people spoke. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey guys, you guys subscribe to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.